Cheng Manching did not get this type of power by not allowing force to build up upon his body, nor was he unfamiliar with intense pressure and force exerted upon him in his own training. Only if one can learn to receive and hold 1,000 pounds of force by channeling it through his body structure into the ground does he then have the luxury of using a much smaller amount of effort to redirect that force. Tai Chi competitions in America should recognize this fact and allow the contestants the chance to feel the real power of their opponents, as they do in China.
Whoa!
See, now that's excessive force because that's throwing.
A throwing technique in American push hands can get you disqualified. In China, however, it gets you the win. These competitors repeatedly threw their opponents to the ground. The result? Their martial arts skill is acknowledged with a victory. In the USA, they would likely be disqualified for excessive force. And simply by way of contrast,
Tai Chi, not to throw one another outside the ring. Just remind y'all.
here we see bracing, steepling, and excessive force as the player in the white shirt displays his superior power and rooting skills. And of course, wins because of it. Here we see hooking, hauling, and throwing used by the player in the red sash. Somebody should caution him not to use these techniques in future, as he is likely to win as a result. This player was repeatedly warned for slowly charging toward his opponent. Why should an advancing player in a restricted step match be penalized for his opponent's inability to cope with simple footwork? Needless to say who would be the winner in China. Then there is the judge's simple inability to recognize basic Tai Chi skill and principles from what they think they're seeing. Take this simple case in point. The player in the white shirt cleanly uproots his opponent out of the ring. Note how both of his adversary's feet leave the floor as he is pushed out. The response on the part of the senior judge?
Shoving's not so good. Don't do shoving. It says in the rules we have to distinguish this from shoving. All right.
Shoving. Really? The failure to recognize such a basic Tai Chi principle as uprooting skill, when it is so clearly demonstrated, is cause for concern in the entire Tai Chi community when these events are held at a national level. There are numerous other examples of such errors, both in judging and in concept. However, to illustrate them all here is neither productive nor realistic. Suffice to say that American Tai Chi Chuan, as it is expressed by its most serious practitioners, that is, those most likely to participate in a national or international event like the one illustrated here, is in serious trouble. We have allowed a handful of people to transform Tai Chi Chuan competition in America, making the world's most respected and widely practiced martial art into something empty and non-recognizable. No one doubts the sacrifice and good intentions of these judges and officials, without whom such competition would hardly exist. But standards already exist in Asia, which we have forsaken, trusting instead the words of a few armchair boxers when we should be watchful of the actions of the real martial artists who designed these events in the first place. No one mistakes a push hands match for a real fight, and even in China, where the play is spirited, injuries of any significance rarely occur. But the competitors wish to test ideas and actions analogous to fighting, such as rooting, footwork, sticking, and throwing, in the best way possible. Not have the match interrupted constantly by a judge who feels the need to condescend to the participants, and even the audience, saying, "Why don't you all start doing something that looks like Tai Chi?" Perhaps the problem here is that those who are judging spend so little time actually practicing that they, by and large, wouldn't know good Tai Chi Chuan when it's right in front of them.